Hey guys, it's Akin with the Houseplant Resource Center, and today I just want to kick off 2021 with a bang, and I want to give you 10 tips to really revolutionize your houseplant game in 2021. And so some of these are going to be kind of easy, straightforward, reasonable, cheap things, and then half of them are going to be really kind of extravagant, crazy plant lady things that not all of us would be interested in doing, but maybe those of us that are obsessed with plants would just go for it. So I'll give you some reasonable, some crazy, both ends of the spectrum there. The first thing that I'll talk about is pretty straightforward, and that is just getting the proper fertilizer for your individual plants. So looking at the fertilizer requirements for your individual species and getting a fertilizer that matches, that's really going to support them. So, you know, we have a fiddly fig food, we have a monstera food, we have bonsai, African violet, and then we have a general food for plants that don't have specific requirements. We also have a houseplant multivitamin that is coming out this year. It's going to be super exciting. It has an additional dose of all of these trace elements and minerals that plants need. And so check that out. It's going to be available in 2020 at the link below. And so the first crazy thing I want to talk about is revolutionizing the light in your house. And so I had run out of places to put houseplants inside my home, and our house was just kind of dark. We had one main living room that just doesn't get a lot of light. It's north facing, all the windows are north facing, and it was just always kind of dark, and I couldn't grow plants in there, and so I just wasn't happy with it. So what we did is we installed Skylights, and so we got Solar Tubes, and that's a company here in San Diego, but they also manufacture worldwide, and these things are amazing. They are circular lights that come in and basically reflect the light and magnify it and then release it into your house. The whole living room is so much brighter. It's so much more beautiful. I can grow plants in there. All of my plants are doing better. And you also get a tax credit here in California. So I believe the whole project was expensive. It was something like $2,200, but we got $750 back on our taxes, and the whole house looks better. There's also some science that supports the use of Skylights to improve your children's cognitive abilities, ability to learn, and their sleep-wake cycles. So I kind of, I got it for my plants, but I also sort of said, it'll help our kids out too. The second thing I want to talk about that's easy is getting moss poles for your climbing plants. I have a lot of plants that I got maybe a year or two ago that have grown significantly. One of those is my Albo Monstera. I got it and it was only like 2 or 3 leaves, and so it didn't need a moss pole because it didn't have much structure to it. But as it's grown, about a year I've had it, it's really gotten huge, and it's kind of, falling over with the weight of itself. It's not a hanging plant. It wants to climb. It's just suffering basically because of the weight of itself. And so I put a moss pole in, and I'll insert some before and after pictures, but it's totally different. It looks so much bigger. It looks so much happier. It's growing more leaves. It's putting out new leaves. It just wanted that structure to climb. And so for your plants that are climbing plants, putting in a moss pole is a great idea to kind of take your plants to the next level and allow them to be happier and healthier. The next kind of crazy thing that I want to talk about is something I did not this year, but the year before. And that is installing a whole house water filter or a really good water filter for your plants. So I live in an area that has very hard water and also very highly chlorinated water, because here in San Diego, the water, it's very warm. And so the water systems are worried about bacteria growing in the warm water, and so they add a lot of chlorine. It's also naturally just very hard water, and so I was worried about my plants, and I could tell that a lot of my palms were getting kind of brown tips. Even my dracaenas were having a lot of brown tips, and that's kind of a telltale sign of too much chlorine. Also, one thing that's important to know is the chlorine in water today does not evaporate. So leaving it out overnight, it no longer evaporates. They use a different type of chlorine that does not evaporate overnight, so that's not really a good solution. So a little bit crazy, but what I did is I got a whole house water filter, and then I also got a water softener for the whole house, which was pretty expensive. It was in the thousands of dollars, but our little girls have eczema, and I was really worried about their skin. I was constantly trying to fix their eczema, so I did it mainly for that reason, and then also for my plants. And then the last thing that I did was adding an alkaline water filter to the tap water. So the water that my plants get goes through the softener and the whole house filter, but it also goes through an alkaline filter so that it is the correct pH. So there's not a lot of true acid-loving houseplants. Most of them like to be alkaline, including fiddly figs. And so by adding that alkaline filter, I was able to give my plants the perfect water. I saw a lot more growth, and they're all just doing better than ever since I installed that water filter. So a little bit crazy, a little bit expensive, but I'm happy that we did it. Okay, so the next way to really take your plants to the next level without spending any money is to put them outside. These fiddly figs behind me all started out inside, but they weren't as happy as they are now until I put them outside. Plants love to be outside. They love light. Of course, it's under a shaded pergola, so they're not in direct sun, but all of my plants prefer to be outside, except for maybe ferns and maybe a couple kind of sensitive plants. So if you live in a place where you could put your plants outside, go ahead and do it. What I do is I have an alert set up so that if it's going to freeze, if there's a frost warning, I get a frost warning and I can bring them inside, or I can put them all together next to the house where they won't freeze. You could even cover them. I really like to bring my plants outside, especially in the spring and summer, because they will grow so much faster. They'll be so much happier. It's just a great way to kind of make your plants healthier and happier. All right, so the next crazy thing that I want to talk about is my favorite thing I've ever done, and we just got this done a couple of weeks ago, and that is a whole house humidifier. I've been wanting one of these for years and years and years, and I don't know why I waited so long. So the unit itself was $148, which isn't that expensive. However, I had to pay an HVAC professional to install it because our HVAC system is in the attic, and it just seemed too complicated for me to install. It connects to our Nest system, so I can adjust the humidity from our Nest thermostat, and it connects to our hot water heater. So a little bit complicated to set up. It was around, I think, $1,000 to set up, $148 for the unit. But oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot believe the difference in the way I feel, my asthma, my allergies. And one of the main reason that I did it is we have a 4-month-old baby who has a lot of allergies. And so I was just really worried about the dryness for him and the allergens in the air. He slept through the night for the first time the day that we got this installed. And so that was worth every penny ever. So I really do believe that it's working for our health to keep the humidity at 50%, which is the high level of what's recommended. It's like the maximum threshold. And I know it's going to make my plants so, so happy because they're already doing better. My calathea are already doing better. All of my plants just look happier and more supple and less dry, all of the indoor plants. So another kind of easy, cheap thing that you can do to take your plants to the next level is putting lights on them. Now, I'm not talking about grow lights, which is also a good idea. If you need more light on your plants, you could do grow lights, but just decorative lights like the one behind me is just so beautiful, and it just adds some, ambiance and just a certain magic to your plants. I do this indoors, I do it outdoors, not just during the holidays. And so you could use these that are actually plugged in, or you could do like solar lights. They have solar string lights that are beautiful for outdoor plants and trees, or indoors you could just plug them in like Christmas lights. But I just get the ones with the green wire that are just white or yellow lights, and I just think it adds some interest to the plants. It sort of showcases your plants at night, and it just makes your home very, very beautiful, and it's just something special. So the next kind of crazy or expensive thing that I recommend is doing a houseplant subscription. So I have a houseplant subscription through houseplantshop.com. I believe it's around $400 a year, which is a lot of money. It was a birthday gift from my husband, so I'm super happy about it. But I get 2 new plants every single month, and I never know what they're going to be. And so it's always fun to get a new plant and be excited and open the box every single month. So it's the gift that keeps on giving for crazy plant ladies. I love it. And I've gotten a lot of new plants that I wouldn't normally have. I got a succulent that I actually like because I'm not into succulents. So I got my new fishhook plant that I actually am in love with, and now I'm kind of getting into string succulents like string of pearls and those kinds of plants. So it opens your eyes to plants that you wouldn't normally buy for yourself, and it's just a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend that. Okay, so the next kind of easy, reasonable thing I want to talk about is getting more hanging pots. So a lot of us have really maxed out on the space that we have for houseplants on surfaces or on the ground in our home. And so the next logical thing is to start hanging your plants. It is so much fun. It looks beautiful. A lot of plants like pothos and philodendron, a lot of different plants do really, really well hung. Ivy, ferns. What I like to do is I take the normal pot that they're in and I just buy one of these string plant hangers that you insert the pot into and then hang it, and it looks beautiful. I also in the outdoors have some hanging plants that the whole planter just came from Amazon as a hanging planter, and then you can just put the plant itself in there. There's some of them that come with drainage holes, so if you want to actually pot your plant into it, but then it will drip a little bit, so you just have to be careful what you hang it over. But if it's outside, maybe it doesn't matter. I truly think there's something magical about sitting outside with plants over your head. And so as soon as I planted some more hanging plants on my patio above me, they're actually up here, when you sit and you look up and you see plants coming down, there's something that happens that just is very relaxing and very transfixing about that. So it's not necessarily expensive or crazy. It's just a nice way to add more plants and get that special ambiance that you're looking for. So the last kind of crazy thing that I will mention is just buying yourself a unicorn plant. And so this is a plant that you've really always loved that maybe you think is too expensive or too big or too flashy for you. Go ahead and just give yourself permission to treat yourself in 2021. I've done this with my Monstera. I got it for my birthday about 1.5 years ago. I look at it every day and I'm in love with this plant. So I just think it's something that you should gift to yourself. You know, within your budget, find something that you wouldn't normally buy yourself and go ahead and buy it for yourself. Another one that I bought is my giant fiddle-leaf fig tree. It's huge. It's on my patio. It's like the focal point of our patio. It's, you know, it was in some ways the focal point of our home because we're out here a lot. And so it's totally worth it, even though it was, you know, a couple $100s. It's something that I've had for 5 years and I love and we enjoy almost every day. So treat yourself, treat your plants in 2021 and just make it a great year. We've all been through a lot in 2020, and so I think it's time to just kind of restart, kickstart, and have an amazing 2021. If you like this video, please subscribe, give this channel a thumbs up, and put your tips for kind of transforming your experience with your plants below. I would love to hear about them, and then I could do part 2 with the viewer tips. So put your tips below, subscribe to our channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.